Hello, good day, and I'm happy to have you here with me again today. What I want to talk about today is actually a very pressing issue that I'm telling you a lot of people have gone through agony because of such issues. Yet, another building collapse. In this video, you will find 10 reasons why you have collapses. Do well to watch. The number 8 issue will marvel you. Number 1, faulty design. First instance, if you do not consult a professional, you are already on the way to getting a faulty design because the person is not trained for that purpose. And if someone is not trained for something, what are you going to get from the person? You're going to get a very bad option, because I wouldn't call that a solution. And the issues of faulty design in the aspect of design concepts, you need the appropriate professionals to do the design. First is the architect in the field. He comes up with the concept, the idea, and I'm telling you, if you meet the wrong person, if you meet someone who is not a qualified architect, you have already gone into the ditch, because you will not have a proper solution. And the architect will do well. Once you meet a registered architect, I'm telling you that you have every other thing covered, because he's going to coordinate with the structural engineer, electrical engineer, and the likes of others, you know. But mind you, still in that design, a lot of people neglect the fact that number 2 is negligence. When you do not do the right thing, is actually negligence, and this negligence can be found in both the side of the clients and the side of designers. It can also be found in the side of the contractor. So you see, we have a lot of stakeholders in the industry. It is not just even that. It can also be found in the side of government. You see, so this negligence on its own is a point that I would even like to pick up and expand further, but for the sake of time, I'm going to just stay within the shape. I will let you know all this more later. But mind you, you don't need to allow negligence in the process. So how do you avoid that negligence? I'll tell you. Watch till the end. All right, incompetence. Number 3, incompetence. Who is the incompetent person? The person who has not been certified is an incompetent person. There has been a case of somebody coming to say, my cousin is a builder, my cousin is a this, my this and that, all kinds of relatives, bringing them into the scene of the project. Once you go through that part, you are going to dig into incompetence, or even seeing somebody advertising and telling you, I do this, I do that. At the end of the day, that person has not been tested and trusted. How do you even know that somebody is tested and trusted? That's why the regulatory body emphasize that it's only registered professionals that are allowed to carry on design. So you see, anybody who is not qualified is termed as a quack, and a quack is incompetent. The person does not possess this adequate skill to give judgment at a certain level where judgment would be required in the design or execution process. Number 4, faulty construction. When do we say construction process is faulty? 1, when you do not use right persons to do the work, it's going to be faulty. Let me give you a typical instance of such. Yes, everybody goes around, I'm a builder, I'm a contractor. Sorry to my builder colleagues, because I know that builders are very, very good persons, and architects are the lead, as I always let you know. But the fact is that you will go to a site and see someone doing a particular work, and you see an artisan, for instance, doing a work, and you feel that this artisan is doing so well, forgetting that that person is under the supervision of someone. Once you miss that process of not working with the person who has the eye of that supervision, and I must tell you, in every aspect of construction, you need the professionals who did the design to be the supervisors, to supervise the process. So an architect is the lead of the team. You need a structural engineer to be there to supervise and ensure that these things were done in the way it was supposed to be done. If you don't do this, you are going to have a faulty construction. You get a laborer who is working on site today, and after two months of work on the site, in one site rather, he moves to another site and say he's a mason and he just doesn't know how to do the work. Immediately turn your eyes away from that person, you see errors everywhere. And by the time you begin to see the errors up and down, the client would like, my materials are being wasted, just leave it. And let me tell you, if you've not heard before, there is this syndrome that goes on in the industry. One person makes a mistake and will tell you the next person will correct it. For instance, you make a mistake at the point of setting out on the foundations. Then you now say, or rather, the person who made the mistake will say, oh, don't worry, leave it. It will be corrected when we get to the DPC. That's already a faulty construction because the alignment of the column might not be the same. So what it was designed for will not be achieved. I'm sure this is clear enough. Next one is foundation failures. Yes, we've seen a lot of collapses happening and yet more coming because a lot of things had not been done the way it should have been. And when you have a foundation failure, it could have been out of the first four that I mentioned. This was number 5. It could have been as a result of a faulty design. It could have been as a result of negligence. It could have been as a result of incompetence. It could have been as a result of faulty construction. So you see that each of them are tied to the other. As well, do you know that if you do not do the needful, you are likely to have your building collapse, just like every other one has been collapsing. So I wouldn't want you to have that collapse. I am here to let you know this so that you save yourself from that. I've given you number 5. Remember, I said watch until the 8th one and it will baffle you. Number 6 says that extraordinary load being put on the building can also cause failure. We recall some years back there was a building collapse in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, and there was a basement floor, a ground floor, and subsequent floors that came up, I think up to about more than 6 floors. And cement was bought and delivered to site. Remember, that building was not designed to be a storage of cement. You see the point? And the client came, the truck delivered the cement, and the cement was uploaded onto the ground floor. Remember, we have a basement floor, or rather the building had a basement floor. And because of that, the load that floor, the ground floor, was carrying, it was not designed for. Putting a trailer load, 600 bags of cement inside one space that is not the earth, well compacted, it's just a suspended floor. Come on, it will collapse. So you see, extraordinary load, and this will not be known if you don't have the right people on the site to advise you that you shouldn't put that load because it was not designed for. You will run into that collapse. And you know what? It's so shocking and so painful that a lot of people have lost their lives. And, this pains me because people have gone because of these ignorant acts that is killing our future. Let me put it that way, because some of them are young people. Imagine in a site where you have 50 workmen working on the site and they're coming to collect their pay at that day and just all vanish. Imagine the other one when someone going to church to worship and the building collapsed. Just went to go and worship God and the building collapsed. Well, that's pathetic. Okay, number 7, yes, change of usage. Someone will ask now, how does change of usage affect the building, or how does change of usage make the building to collapse? There are series of codes for each typology. Now, if you are doing a certain kind of building, there are codes you apply for that building, because it will determine. That's from the structural aspect, which I wouldn't talk deeply on that, but the structural engineers understand what I'm saying. And you who doesn't know, just know that if you change use, for instance, residential building, and you decide to make it a shopping plaza, you understand? If you make it a shopping plaza, it means that you have added additional load, life load to it. So once you change use, there will be fluctuation in the load pattern. Do you understand? And if you do these changes, another building collapse. Come on. Number 8. Wow. So we are here. Should I push this number 8 to the last one? Or should I just say it now so that you hear it? Number 8 says that corruption can also cause building collapse. Now, I will ask you, what is corruption? You will answer this one no, because corruption can just be you doing what you're not supposed to do, or saying that you will do this and you don't do it, or trying to make some pecuniary gains where you're not supposed to, or telling somebody I will do this and you end up, all this mixed up together, or somebody saying I will give you this job and how much will you give me in turn, and because you have agreed that you will give that person a certain percentage, then you take off that percentage to give the person. Compel yourself to do that, because maybe you really need the job, and once you get the job, you see different stages of this corruption begins to manifest itself. One person moves to the other one to give bribe, the other one collects the bribe, and this one says the person who is supposed to enforce is not enforcing. It keeps building like that and like that and like that. Before you know it, what happens? Another building collapse. Come on. I'm taking number 9 now. Number 9, if the building has exhausted its life span, that building is already ready to collapse. Just like humans, when you have overlived, you have been stressed, you have gone through wear and tear, man, the next thing is, let the building go and rest. You get the point? So, when a building gets to a certain lifespan, for instance, this building has been in use for about 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, because if it was not designed to live for up to 100 years, once it gets to the lifespan where the materials have started failing, it is advisable to demolish it and build a new one. That's why we have what we call building life cycle. Every building has a life cycle. Then, number 10, lack of enforcement of extant laws. And who are these people that should enforce the extant laws? You and I being put in a position to do what we are supposed to do. Yes, because we are the government. So if we do not do what we are supposed to do, we are likely going to lead the building to a collapse. You get the point? But let me give you a bonus. Forces of nature can also cause another collapse. Imagine a building that was not designed to withstand seismic, wind load, all those variances of natural forces and earthquakes. If these things come to happen, there is likely a tendency for you to get that building collapsed. So we have the responsibility of making sure that all the points that I have mentioned should not be compromised. We should not even allow them to happen. Whichever aspect you find yourself to get these things done, it is ideal you get it done well so that we avoid that collapse. All right, so how do we avoid building collapse? All these things have solution because, as I always say, technology has helped us so much in a lot of aspects. You can use technological aid in managing your projects. And if you do that with building information modeling, you can build the house and you have a digital model of the physical representation of the building, whereby you can test all these things, the load and the forces that could apply, and test whether it would be there. And you can monitor corruption. You understand? You can also ensure that if something is compromised in a certain part, it could cause problem. So what I just mean is that you put technology in place. It will reduce the degree of the effect of these causes. So if you like this video that I have just made for you, do well to subscribe to this channel and turn off your notification button so that you can get notifications when I drop another one for you. All right? Yes, I wish you a good day.